Bo is a 4-year-old male Labrador who presented to ICU following a very small wound on his toe. Unfortunately, he contracted tetanus.
He deteriorated and he ended up going on mechanical ventilation.
For a dog to go on mechanical ventilation is not something that we do lightly. The chance of leaving the hospital alive is actually fairly slim.
In all my years of nursing, I've never nursed a case this intense. We had to troubleshoot a lot of complications, and no 2 days were the same. To be honest, no 2 hours were the same.
Those type of patients, the cardiovascular status can change very quickly. They can be alive 1 minute and the next one they can be having a respiratory arrest, so we have to be there all the time.
Bo was one-to-one nursing 24 hours a day. A lot of my nursing care is very much focused around infection control.
Trying to reduce the risk of infection from all of his intravenous catheters, his bilateral chest drains, his urinary catheter, his feeding tubes. We had to ensure that we were gentle, smooth, organised. I was very heavily involved when he had been extubated from the ventilator,
which can take days, and for him it takes actually 2 to 3 days to safely take him out of the machine.
And he was having very violent tremors.
With the tremors, the muscles can get very rigid, so we have to do a lot of movement in them to release the pressure and keep them relaxed and moving.
Ensuring that he wasn't getting any pressure sores, there was enough padding, but then also the tremors were causing the body temperature to rise, so we didn't want lots of padding around him. So getting that balance.
Bo was like a multidisciplinary type of patient. We were involved with ACC obviously, but Neurology was involved.
Anaesthesia were coming through regularly. Physiotherapy played a huge role.
Ophthalmology, because being sedated and anaesthetised for so long, they can develop ulcers.
Our PCAs were amazing at stepping in. It's really good to see everybody come together and, bring in their ideas that ultimately saved Bo's life.
As Bo got clinically more stable, his nursing care actually increased and intensified because all of the potential risks got heightened. When I offered him his first oral food to lap, it was like a soup, but he'd not consumed anything orally for multiple days. If he swallowed it and then inhaled it, he would have ended up on the ventilator. As soon as Bo saw the bowl of food, he stood up, as if tetanus had never happened. His tail started wagging and his eyes were just glistening. He was so excited for food. It was like polar opposites. He was super excited and I was super nervous.
My fondest moment with Bo was I went out to get his carers who'd come in for a visit, and they came into the room and they called him. He was so wobbly, but he stood up, he wagged his tail and his whole body shook side to side, and the carers were obviously very emotional, as were the entire ICU team. And it was in that moment that we knew we were getting him home, so it was an amazing moment to be part of.
That will stay in my memory for a long time.
He just kept fighting. Against all odds, he just kept fighting.